All right, so here we are going to talk about what happens when a power has a base that is an integer. So just a quick review of things that we should know about powers and exponents. Remember, the whole thing is called the power. The larger number, the number that gets repeated, is the base. And the smaller superscript number is the exponent. And remember that the exponent is how many times the base gets repeated. So what happens when the base of a power is negative? For example, negative 2 to the 4. What would we do in that case? So in that case, our base would be negative 2, and we would repeat that repeated multiplication 4 times. So let's look at some of these options, because depending on how we write it and where the bracket is can impact our answer. So for example, this one here, that's the one that I just talked about, negative 2 in brackets to the exponent of 4. When we write that out, it gets written out as negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which ends up being positive 16. So in this case, the base of that power is negative 2. Now let's compare that to this one on the left. What's the difference between these? Well, the difference is that this one has a bracket around the base and this one does not. So what that actually means is this one really is like me saying negative 1 times 2 to the exponent of 4. So with that one, what I actually end up doing is I repeat 2 to the exponent of 4, and that has a negative sign in front of it. So notice the negative does not get repeated. So for this one, the base is actually 2. So this one, here, the base is 2, whereas in this one, the base was negative 2. So here the negative got repeated, here it does not. And so this answer will actually be negative 16. So now let's look at these two over here. So this example here, negative 2 to the exponent of 3. Again, there's no bracket around the negative, so that means that the 2 gets repeated 3 times. And it just happens to have that negative in front, and so that'll be negative 8. Again, in this one, the base is actually positive. Remember, this is like saying negative 1 times 2 to the exponent of 3. This one, because of the brackets, the base is negative 2. So that negative 2 gets repeated 3 times for an answer of negative 8. Now you might ask, why was this one had brackets, why is it a positive answer, and this one that had brackets is a negative answer? Well, that's because this gets repeated an even number of times, and remember that a negative times a negative will become a positive. This one gets repeated an odd number of times, so when we have an odd number of negative signs, our answer will always be negative. Both of these are always negative, this one here and this one here, because there is only one negative sign in each of those cases. And when there's one negative sign, your answer will always be negative.